Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
For a second, she sprung to life.
I just got done dealing with your mom and fucking bugs.
What is up, everyone? I'm your host, Dark Roast, Pork Roast Nation, coming at you live for another review. This is continuing of 2017 games, though. Yooka-Laylee is up next. I have already done Ghost Recon Wildlands, and of course, Resident Evil 7. Yooka-Laylee is, of course, next up in my target zone. Of course, same as same. I'll be basing it off of gameplay 1 to 100, presentation 1 to 100, and overall impact 1 to 100. At the end, I'll rate it out of 10 after I boiled the numbers down, and we'll figure out what Yooka-Laylee got. So let's get right into it. Yooka-Laylee. So, coming into Yooka-Laylee, was very hyped up. You don't get very many games like this nowadays. It's kind of going back to the old Nintendo 64 era with Banjo and DK64. I've never played Banjo. I do know what it is all about though, but I have played a lot of DK64. So coming to the game, I was really hyped. I was like, either someone's finally making a game like this again. And immediately going to the game, I already did not like the design of the characters that you play as, of Yuka and Lily. I thought the colors were cool. No problem with that. They just look so. I know the characters are supposed to be funny, you know, weird looking, but for the main character you play as, it just looks retarded. I'm not even kidding you. Yuka, like the main like lizard thing, is the worst design I've ever seen in my life. I don't have a huge problem with the bad Lily, but I just can't get over the design. But moving away from first impressions, the gameplay at best for Yooka-Laylee is a toned down version of what Banjo and DK64 was. It's like you took all the depth in those games and then you just scraped off the top of those games and you put it and made Yooka-Laylee. Because I feel like Yooka-Laylee gets such bad credit for underwhelming, and I think they get that because it was underwhelming. You know, they have a lot of mini games. That was pretty cool. I'll admit that. But for the most part, it's like a lot of rinse and repeat, and it feels like you're doing the same thing over again, which to a point is what you do in every game. You know, do this mission, escort mission, Culdy. Culdy's been the same for like 10 years straight now. Let's not even argue with that. I don't have a problem with that though, because it works. But the way Yooka-Laylee goes about it is just so bland. There's no depth, there's no character to it. It's really annoying to see. And aside from that fact though, moving on to other gameplay aspects, the levels in the game were really well done. I love them. You know, you only had 5. You could argue that you did need a little bit more levels, but I felt that, you know, okay, so maybe we could have had 1 extra level, but we did have the Ivory Tower hub area that we could explore, so that maybe counts as level in some people's books. But one thing I did love about the game is that every level was a far stretch from every other level. Like, you did not have 2 levels that were sort of the same or maybe even a little bit similar. What you did in the worlds were similar, but the level design was completely opposite, and I love that it was a lot different, because if I had to play as the same level that was similar twice, I would get really annoyed, especially if there was only 5, which there was only 5, but because they were all different, not a big problem for me. The upgrading system was very, very basic. Like probably the most basic thing you'll ever see in your life. The boss levels, very dumb and not thought out as a game designer. There's cool things though, like you can see in the background here, if you Yoshi style lick a certain plant, you'll turn like into, like if you lick that, you'll turn glowy. And there's cannonball ones. You can lick a grenade tree and you can shoot grenades at your mouth. I thought that was pretty cool. But overall, gameplay for me was definitely not the point of the game, sadly, because I feel like Banjo and DK64 had a lot going it for gameplay, especially with DK, where you could switch out of characters from time to time through the barrel. I have not played any of the Banjos, but I said before I do know them, and I've seen a lot of gameplay on them. So I'm not going to comment on any Banjo thing because I have not played it before. But yeah. So yeah, so far gameplay hasn't been that smooth. But what will be the final round out of 100? Could be a possible surprise here, folks. Here we go. Yooka-Laylee gameplay. Jesus Christ, the lowest score I've ever given out, even though I've only done 2 other reviews. No, but for real though, 31 out of 100 for gameplay. It is the lowest I've given out. I've only done 2 reviews. All true. 31 out of 100 for gameplay though. Pros, felt like Nintendo 64 gameplay sometimes. Yes, that is correct. Cons, lack of depth was the biggest problem I had with the game. Poorly designed boss fights was a huge problem I had with the game. Upgrade system was very, very basic. It's not the biggest problem in the world, but you know, that is still a problem. So 31 out of 100. Maybe I went too harsh on the gameplay for Yooka-Laylee, but nevertheless, we still have presentation. Pouncing right into presentation. You could probably tell by the photos I have in the background and the gameplay I've had in the background, the presentation is very, very well done in this game on the color scheme. You can see that the game looks bloody brilliant, mate. And yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing much else to say. It's like, it's very relaxing just looking at it and remember back to when I was playing it. The way the game looks, the way the game sounds, it has brilliant soundtracks in it, really classic Nintendo 64 style soundtracks. And I really love that. The game looks awesome. Each world had its own design scheme in a color palette, which was pretty nice. Because you had the snow level, then you had the very nice dark Halloween level, and I thought I was gonna like the dark Halloween level, but looking back at it now, it's the most forgettable level of all of them, in my opinion. So yeah, everything just looks really nice in this game. It's hard to describe because you don't see any game like this nowadays that I am aware of. And I hope they keep this in Yooka-Laylee 2. I don't see them changing any of their presentation coming forth if they make a Yooka-Laylee 2. And so yeah. And remember, I'm not basing any of my presentation off of graphics to say, because I'm taking what it looks like visually and taking graphics out of that equation and basing it off that. But another huge chunk of presentation comes from the music, and the music in Yooka-Laylee is spot on, mate. I'm not kidding you with this. Now, the game, I'll get into this later in the next category, but the game has really well done soundtracks. I said before, classic Nintendo 64, it really sounds like that, and the way that you talk to other characters in the world and you do that little whatever sound, I don't know how to describe it, but when you talk to them, you know what it sounds like. It sounds really cool, and you don't see that in any other game nowadays. The camera angles were cool for the most part, and yeah, that's pretty much presentation. It is a very underrated part of games. You can usually go by this category pretty fast, but I ended up giving Yooka-Laylee on presentation 79 out of 100. The last saving grace for this game. No, in all honesty though, I love the presentation for this game. The color scheme was awesome. The level designs, all 5 of them were beautiful, including Hivory Towers was really awesome. Character voices were on point, well done soundtrack, and the cons, literally, who the designed Yooka-Laylee? Literally. Like, not the game, like the character Yuka, the green one. I don't have a problem with the big red fucking clown nose and the bat, but whatever. Anyways, 79 out of 100. Pretty good. Last category, general impact. What will I have out of 100? Let's find out. Sliding right in. General impact. I kind of feel bad for Yooka-Laylee. I feel like I've been shitting on it too much. And yes, it deserves that shit. But there's a part of me that feels bad because of how high the bar was set. Because I came in hoping it's going to be DK64 Part 2. Obviously, I knew in the back of my head there was a huge chance it wasn't going to do that. And, you know, of course it didn't. But coming out of the game, since I've played it about a year ago, yeah, it's been about a year because it was released, I believe, April or March of 2017. It's been about a year, and I want to say this game is half and half. It's forgettable and memorable, but the memorable part of it is just because it was a game that not many other developers tend to go near. There's not many games like this out there. Not many AAA titles are coming out like this at all. None. So in a way, this game was what I like to say, a fresh of breath air in the gaming industry. And the forgettable part of it was just because of how bland the gameplay was. Literally, the gameplay was so bland in this game. Mini games are fun. Saving grace right there. A lot of rinse and repeat. So yeah, it's kind of 50-50 coming out. And one question, would I go back and play it in 5 years? You know, maybe. And that's a huge maybe, because most of the time I would like to go back and play a game. But with this one, I would rather just go and reboot up DK64 and do another go through of that. I mean, like, would I play a game is a pretty big factor in general impact for me. And the fact I hesitate on saying yes is a huge part. And I'm so split on the overall impact, I had to give it 50 out of 100. I mean, straight down the middle here. Talking about pros, the game is unique. I have not played a game that is like this since DK64 or anything of the such. Loved the look of the game, the presentation. As you can tell by the score, I gave it 79 out of 100. I loved the presentation of the game. Cons, I probably wouldn't go back and play it again, to be honest. And it is a little bit forgettable because, I mean, it's one of those games you play and you're done. And then you move on to the next one. And then you play the next one and you're like, holy shit, this is crazy. Or whatever the next one would have been after I played that. And then it's kind of like, Yooka-Laylee, oh yeah, I played that. I kind of forgot about that game. It's kind of like that. So that's why I gave it 50 out of 100. But enough math. We do enough of that in high school. So I'll boil the numbers down for you so you can see what I gave Yooka-Laylee out of 10. So let's cut right to the chase. My final score for Yooka-Laylee 2017, the game that had so much hype going into it, that I believed in, can bring back and revive that franchise from the dust. I gave Yooka-Laylee 5.6 out of 10, a solid rating, my mates. 5.6 out of 10. I mean, I wish Yooka-Laylee could have been a solid 10. I mean, I wish every game I could play as a 10, but I gotta give it what I think it deserves, you know. 5.6 out of 10 is, I believe, what it deserves. The general impact was 50-50. The gameplay was really, really crappy, I gotta admit that. Presentation was the last saving grace for this game. Thank God for that. I love the soundtracks. One thing I forgot to mention, though, that I did like in the game was the ghosts that you had to try and find in different ways, like how you could find them. You can find them, but you have to try and capture them in 5 different ways. I thought that was really well done. That's the only thing I forgot to mention, I believe, in the review here. So 5.6 out of 10 for Yooka-Laylee. Was it too high, too low? What do you think? Sound off in the comments, start arguing with each other. And yeah, I'll see everybody next time. My next review will be the well-anticipated game, PlayStation 4 only. Here it comes. Horizon Zero Dawn will be my next review. And I'm really hyped up to do that one. I have a lot to say about that game. And yeah, so 5.6 out of 10. I could have done this a lot shorter. Yeah, I could have made this a really short review, but for now, we will see Horizon Zero Dawn next time. You'll see me there. Of course, I'll be in that review. No doubt about it. I will see everyone next time for Horizon Zero Dawn. Peace! And this is what I would have done if I only had a 10-second time limit.